The chamber of the Galactic Council floated in silence above the gas giant Velthora, its translucent dome glowing faintly against the swirling amber storms below. Delegates from 47 species surrounded a circular floor of obsidian glass, where shimmering holograms represented entire empires. For centuries, this chamber had been a place of diplomacy where wars ended, not began. But tonight, every voice fell quiet as the blue hologram of General Marcus Hale flickered into being at the center. The human's image stood tall, clad in the matte black combat uniform of Earth's Unified Defense Command. His expression was cold, almost carved from steel. Behind him, through the feed, one could see the distant glimmer of Earth's orbital fleet and armada that had never before left home space. The chair of the council, a crystalline being named Tovrel of the Silent Combine, shifted uncomfortably. General Hale, the voice vibrated like chimes underwater. The records show that your species has ignored 6 summons to appear before this council. Now you arrive, armed. Marcus didn't flinch. We didn't come to talk. A ripple of outrage surged through the delegates, wings flared, mandibles clicked, photonic bodies pulsed in disarray. But Marcus raised a hand, and his voice cut through the chaos with a calm that froze even the most arrogant empires. You came to our home, he said slowly, each word deliberate. You burned our colonies on Vega Prime. You slaughtered civilians in the name of expansion. You thought humanity would bow to your council. The holographic feed behind him shifted, showing the smoldering ruins of Vega Prime, the bodies of settlers lying under alien shadows. Even the hardened warlords of the Keth Dominion looked away. Marcus continued. We asked for peace. We offered trade. You answered with fleets. So hear me clearly. He took a step forward, his face now filling the chamber's projection field. You came to our home. Now face humanity. The words rolled like thunder through the council floor. For the first time in millennia, the Galactic Council, a body that ruled half the known stars, fell utterly silent. Then came a whisper, a low, trembling voice from one of the insectoid Vrel delegates. You cannot win. Humanity is a minor race. You have one world. We have thousands. Marcus's lips curled into a half-smile. Then you'd better start counting. And with that, the transmission ended. Alarms blared across the council station as reality set in. The human fleet, until now confined to its own solar borders, had mobilized. Thousands of newly commissioned ships, forged in silence, were already on the move. Admiral Evelyn Carter, Hale's second-in-command, stood beside him aboard the UHS Resolute, Earth's flagship dreadnought. Through the panoramic viewports, the curvature of the Earth glowed blue and gold below. Council's panicking, she said, her tone clipped but steady. Their intelligence networks didn't even know we had a navy this size. They never asked how long we'd been watching, Hale replied. His gaze remained fixed on the stars. We've been building for 20 years. Every time they warned us to stay contained, we built another fleet. He turned to her. What's the fleet status? All battle groups green. Mars Command reports full readiness. The Luna shipyards completed the last of the Archangel carriers this morning. Then it's time. Hale walked to the command console. Signal all ships. Formation Sigma 5. Set coordinates for the Council Core. Evelyn hesitated. You're planning to attack their heart directly? They attacked ours first, Hale said quietly. They just didn't expect us to strike back. Hours later, in the dark between stars, humanity's vengeance awakened. From the orbit of Earth, thousands of warships aligned, from nimble interceptors to kilometer-long dreadnoughts. Their hulls bore the matte black insignia of the United Terran Fleet, a coalition of every surviving nation. Engines flared, illuminating the void like a sunrise of fury. At the forefront, UHS Resolute drifted silently, its weapon systems primed. Hale's voice echoed through every ship's comms channel. To all Terran forces, this is General Marcus Hale. For years, they watched us, judged us, and struck us when we were weakest. Tonight, we answer. We fight not for conquest, but for remembrance, for Vega, for every colony they burned, for every child they thought was beneath their council's concern. Tonight, humanity shows the stars what it means to stand together. A single tone followed his speech, the ignition signal. And then, hyperspace opened. Streams of blue light swallowed the fleet as thousands of vessels tore across the fabric of reality. Space folded, starlight bent, and humanity vanished into the dark. In the Council's capital system, panic erupted. Fleets scrambled, planetary shields powered up, and the core worlds prepared for a war they had never imagined would reach them. Council intelligence underestimated humanity's resolve and its numbers. They believed the humans had, at most, 200 warships. In truth, Earth had built nearly 100,000 vessels in hidden orbital yards and asteroid foundries, shielded behind old mining colonies in dark space interference. When the Terran fleet emerged from hyperspace, it blotted out the stars. From the bridge of the Resolute, Hale watched the enemy formations assemble, 1,000 alien ships, the combined might of 6 empires, arrayed in shimmering arcs. Their flagship, the Jacquard Dominion's Emperor's Wrath, dwarfed even the human dreadnought. Admiral Carter's voice was tight. They're broadcasting surrender demands. Should we respond? Hale's gaze hardened. Yes. Patch me through. The alien admiral, a creature of crimson scales and gleaming fangs, appeared on screen. Human, it hissed, you defy the Council and trespass into our core. Turn back, or. Hale raised a hand. We're already here. And then, with chilling calm, fire. The first barrage tore across space, hundreds of kinetic rounds traveling at fractions of light speed. Alien shields flared, shattered, and dissolved. Within seconds, the void erupted in fire and chaos. Missiles screamed through the dark, railguns thundered like gods, and beams of superheated plasma carved through hulls. The alien armada, unprepared for the humans' precision, crumbled under coordinated salvos. Humanity's primitive technology, once mocked, had evolved into perfection through necessity. Every shot counted. Every maneuver exploited weaknesses studied for decades. On the Council planet below, the delegates watched in horror as their fleets burned. The chamber that once debated policies now echoed with silence and fear. The same words replayed on every emergency feed, broadcast by the human fleet's signal beacons. You came to our home. Now face humanity. Space burned. The battlefield outside the Council core world had become a storm of wreckage and light. Thousands of alien ships, once gleaming symbols of dominance, now drifted as molten husks. Their dying engines painted the void in hues of amber and blood. From the bridge of the UHS Resolute, General Marcus Hale watched the inferno with an expression that betrayed neither victory nor joy. His reflection shimmered in the tactical glass, haloed by the blue glow of Earth's crest. Behind him, the command deck pulsed with quiet intensity, officers calling out readings, plasma batteries venting heat, medical reports flashing red across the board. Enemy lines collapsing, said Admiral Evelyn Carter, her voice steady despite the chaos. But they're reforming behind the moons of Gyrith. Looks like a full retreat. Not retreat, Hale murmured. Regrouping. He turned toward her. There's still the Council. They'll bring everything they have before they admit defeat. Evelyn nodded grimly. Then we'll be ready. The battle reports streamed in across the fleet. 47 alien fleets engaged. 12 destroyed. 14 in full retreat. Human losses, heavy, but not crippling. It was working. For the first time in recorded galactic history, the Council had been forced onto the defensive, not by an ancient empire or an artificial god, but by a young species from a single blue world that refused to kneel. On a side screen, Hale watched the feed from Battlegroup Orion, stationed near the Vega corridor. Admiral Nathan Briggs appeared, blood staining his collar, the bridge behind him filled with smoke. General, we've secured the Council outpost at Narith. Civilians evacuated. Their admiral detonated his own ship to avoid capture. Hale's jaw tightened. Understood. Hold position. You've done enough. Briggs hesitated. Sir, the men are asking, is it true what they're saying? That you told the Council. Hale interrupted quietly, yes. I said it. Briggs's expression hardened into pride. Then we'll make damn sure they remember it. The signal cut, and Hale stood in silence, staring out into the void. He'd never wanted to be a symbol. But the words had spread across every fleet, every comm channel, every trench and carrier bay. You came to our home, now face humanity. Hours turned to days. The war spread like wildfire. Human fleets advanced through the outer bands, taking system after system. Planets that had once mocked Earth's insignificance now trembled beneath its banners. The Council's propaganda networks tried to downplay the losses, but images of burning warships filled every screen. And behind the tactics and triumphs, the emotional weight grew heavier. Earth Command, New Washington, Lunar Headquarters. President Laura Winters stood before the holodeck, surrounded by advisors and military officials. Hale's live feed shimmered before her. Marcus, the Council is asking for negotiations, she said, her voice sharp with disbelief. After what they've done, after Vega. Hale's expression darkened. They don't want peace, Laura. They want time. Every hour we pause, they rebuild. Every ceasefire is another trap. Then what's your objective? Hale leaned closer. The core. The Council's seat of power. We take it, we end this. The room fell silent. One of the generals spoke up nervously. That's suicide. The core world's defenses are impenetrable. Even if you breach orbit, they're planetary cannons. We'll fire once, Hale said flatly, before we silence them. Back aboard the Resolute, the preparations began. Fleet Command uploaded the operation plan, Operation Black Dawn, a simultaneous strike across 8 Council core systems. Over 90,000 human vessels would converge in waves, supported by automated drone swarms and orbital bombardment platforms. Targets locked, reported Commander Ruiz, tactical officer. But sir, reconnaissance confirms multiple civilian zones near the defensive grids. Hale hesitated. The faintest shadow crossed his expression. We minimize collateral damage where possible. But if they hide their weapons among the innocent, that choice is theirs. Evelyn Carter looked at him from across the bridge. You know they'll call us monsters for this. Hale's reply was quiet. They already did. Long before we fired a shot. The assault began at dawn, local time of the Council core. Space itself seemed to shatter. From hyperspace ruptures came the Terran fleets, colossal carriers vomiting squadrons of interceptors, dreadnoughts locking into formation, railgun platforms spinning up with thunderous hums. The alien defenses opened fire immediately, thousands of plasma beams crisscrossing the dark. But the humans didn't flinch. They moved like a machine, every maneuver, every angle pre-calculated by the tactical AIs they'd built in secret. Main batteries, fire sequence Alpha. Hale commanded. The Resolute's spinal railgun charged, vibrating through the entire ship. A blinding white beam erupted, tearing through 2 alien cruisers and punching a hole through the orbital shield ring. Around it, hundreds of smaller ships followed suit, focusing their fire on the breach. Shield ring is collapsing, shouted Ruiz. We're through. Send in the drop ships, Hale ordered. Secure the surface. Council Capital Orbital Defense Command. Inside the vast crystalline fortress that orbited the core world, chaos reigned. Admiral Jerical, commander of the Council's defense fleet, stared at his tactical display in disbelief. They're breaking through. How do they have so many ships? Their industry. An aide screamed, they've had decades to prepare, sir. They built in silence, in shadow. Jerical turned, slamming a clawed fist into the console. They are primitives. They cannot. The room exploded. A railgun slug the size of a bus tore through the fortress, splitting it in half. From orbit, Hale watched as the planet's shields flickered and died. Admiral Carter exhaled slowly. Defenses neutralized. Ground teams requesting permission to advance. Granted, Hale said. Deploy the Marines. Below, streaks of fire marked the entry of human landing ships into the planet's atmosphere. As they descended, the planet's surface bloomed with explosions. The Council's golden spires, once symbols of power, crumbled beneath human bombardment. Later, deep within the Council chambers, surviving delegates huddled in terror as the echo of battle drew closer. The very same chamber where they had once judged humanity now trembled under orbital fire. The massive doors blew open. Smoke rolled through the hall as armored figures entered, human soldiers in black exosuits, weapons glowing faint blue. At their head strode General Marcus Hale, his boots echoing against the marble floor. Tovral, the crystalline council chair, shuddered, her voice trembling. You cannot destroy us all." Hale stopped before the council dais. His armor reflected the shattered starlight filtering through the dome above. "You already destroyed yourselves," he said. He turned his gaze toward the delegates, eyes cold but steady. "This is what happens when you mistake mercy for weakness." Tovrel whispered, "What will you do now, General? Rule us?" Hale paused. The silence stretched like the void between stars. "No," he said finally. "We didn't come to rule. We came to end this." He raised his comms link. "Carter, signal all fleets. Stand down." The guns fell silent. For the first time in galactic history, the Council was defeated not by conquest, but by consequence. Humanity had proven that patience was not passivity, that mercy was not weakness, and that even the smallest world could stand against the stars when pushed too far. As Hale stood in the ruins of the Council chamber, the distant sunrise of the core world broke through the smoke, a red-gold dawn over the ashes of tyranny. And in that moment, he knew, the war was far from over. Because every victory demanded a price. The war was over. But peace had not yet begun. Weeks after the fall of the Council core world, the galaxy lay in stunned silence. Fleets drifted across the stars, not in battle formation, but as search parties, salvaging the remains of a war too vast to comprehend. Entire systems glowed faintly from orbital fires, the light of dying worlds flickering like candles against the void. Humanity had won. And yet, victory felt like ashes. On board the UHS Resolute, General Marcus Hale stood alone in the observation deck. Below, the core world spun silently, a jewel fractured by war. Its golden cities now lay in ruins, its oceans tainted with debris. Behind him, Admiral Evelyn Carter entered quietly, carrying a data slate. "The Council's provisional government has surrendered," she said. "Most of their fleets are dismantling. The rest are begging for amnesty." Hale didn't turn. His reflection in the viewport looked hollow, almost ghost-like. "And the civilian casualties?" he asked softly. Evelyn hesitated. "Higher than we estimated." The silence stretched. "They hid their weapons in population centers," Hale said at last. "We warned them." Carter nodded. "Still, some of our people are asking questions. About what we've become." Hale exhaled slowly, his breath fogging the glass. "We became what they forced us to be." Across the fleet, morale fractured. Some cheered the end of alien tyranny. Others mourned what humanity had lost in its own soul. In the dark corridors of the Resolute, soldiers walked like ghosts. They'd seen too much worlds burned, comrades vaporized, entire civilizations begging for mercy over calms that went silent seconds later. To some, it was justice. To others, vengeance gone too far. Earth Command, New Washington. The Hollow Summit was tense. President Laura Winters appeared before the Fleet Command delegation, her face drawn with exhaustion. "Marcus, we can't sustain this," she said. "Half the Council worlds are in chaos. Refugees are flooding our sectors. The galactic economy's collapsing." "They started this war," Hale replied. "We ended it. Now we make sure it never happens again." Winters leaned forward. "And how do you plan to do that? Occupy half the galaxy?" Hale's gaze didn't waver. "If that's what it takes." The room fell into silence. Even Evelyn Carter looked uncertain. "Marcus," she said gently, "we can't rule by fear." "That's what they did." He turned toward her, eyes hard. "Fear kept humanity alive long before the stars ever noticed us. Fear made them hesitate to strike us again. Winters's expression softened. And what about hope, General? Do you still believe in that? Hale looked away, his voice low. Hope died on Vega. Later, as the fleet prepared to withdraw, Hale found himself alone again in the war room. The lights were dim. Only the flickering tactical displays remained, showing the vast map of conquered systems, hundreds of worlds now under Terran control. His calm beeped softly. A private transmission, unidentified source. He hesitated, then accepted. The image of an alien appeared. Tovrel, the former council chair, her crystalline form dimmed and cracked. She was no longer adorned in regal light, only the dull reflection of loss. General Hale, she said quietly. I was told you would not answer. Curiosity got the better of me, he replied. I came not to accuse, but to ask, Tovrel continued. What happens now? You have defeated us. Broken us. Will you erase us, as we try to erase you? Hale studied her for a long time. No. Humanity doesn't erase. We remember. Her crystal facets shimmered faintly, like tears. Then remember this, the galaxy will fear you now. Fear breeds unity. Unity breeds war. You have ended one empire only to forge another. She leaned forward, her eyes glinting. Tell me, General, when they come for you, as you came for us, who will face humanity then? The transmission ended. That night, Hale walked the Resolute's corridors in silence. The ship felt too big, too quiet. Every officer he passed saluted him out of respect, out of fear, or perhaps both. He stopped by the memorial wall, a massive panel etched with the names of every human lost since Vega Prime. Thousands of names glowed softly in blue light. He stood there for a long time, saying nothing. Admiral Carter found him there hours later. Command's giving you full authority, she said quietly. They're calling it the Hale Doctrine. A permanent fleet stationed across the stars. You'll lead it. Hale didn't respond. You did what you had to, she continued. No one else could have done it. He turned to her slowly. Evelyn, do you ever wonder if we won the wrong war? She frowned. What do you mean? The war to survive, he said. We survived. But what if in doing it, we lost what made us human? She didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. 6 months later, edge of the Orion frontier. A small Terran colony ship drifted through the quiet dark, escorted by 2 light frigates. Its passengers were engineers, farmers, children, the next generation meant to rebuild what the war had torn apart. A transmission came from deep space. A familiar voice, older now, quieter. This is General Marcus Hale of the United Terran Fleet, it said. To all colonies beyond Sol, remember this, strength without purpose is just destruction. We fought because we had to. But we must never forget why. He paused. Because they came to our home, and we answered. Let that be enough. Let humanity be more than its wrath. The message repeated once, then faded into the static hum of space. Far from the core, on a cold moon overlooking the stars, Marcus Hale sat beside a small memorial marker, no titles, no rank, just a single inscription. For Vega. For Earth. For humanity. He watched the horizon, where a distant sunrise painted the crater edges in gold. Evelyn Carter's voice came softly over his calm. Fleet Command requesting your presence, sir. There's talk of new threats in the Perseus sector. Hale smiled faintly, the first in a long time. Then I guess peace will have to wait. He stood, his boots crunching against the frozen soil, and looked one last time at the rising light. Let them come, he whispered. Because this time, humanity is ready. Epilogue. In the centuries that followed, the phrase became legend. Scholars called it the Vega Declaration. Children across the stars learned its final line by heart, a warning and a promise. You came to our home. Now face humanity. And though the stars shifted, and empires rose and fell, one truth endured.
The galaxy would never again mistake silence for weakness.
For somewhere, among the cold and endless stars, humanity was still watching.